Dear students, in this lecture, we are going to study the history of Satvahana dynasty. So, many of you might have heard about this dynasty, and for those of you who have not heard, so you need not worry because we will start from the basics, and you have to remember this in terms of fact because there are lots and lots of facts to be remembered from these topics. So let's begin. Let's understand what is this Satvahana dynasty. But before beginning, let me give you a rough idea of what we are up to. What is this Satvahana dynasty? So you know that during ancient times, Magad became the epicenter of India. So Magad means the modern day area of, you can say, Bihar and eastern Uttar Pradesh. So basically this region. This was Magad. So Magad was basically the epicenter or the political center of the entire capital for more than 600 to 700 years. So starting from, you can say, 6th century BC up till 1st century AD. So Magad was controlling the entire country. Now gradually one dynasty used to come in Magad. It used to get replaced by another dynasty, but the position of Magad was intact. It was Magad which was ruling the entire country. Though kings were changing, the dynasties were changing, but Magad did not lose its importance. But during first century AD, things began to change. So the political center of entire India, entire capital, for the first time shifted to South India, Satvahana. So a new dynasty was formed, at the mid of first century AD, who chose not to rule from Magad, but they chose to go to South India, and then they chose to establish their independent identity. So these people who established their kingdom, an independent kingdom in South India, so this dynasty came to be known as Satvahana dynasty. So these people had actually come from North India only. They had connections with Magad, but they thought that let's create our own independent identity. Why should we associate our identity with Magad? Let's explore new opportunities, and that is how Satvahana dynasty was founded. So now let's understand the detail of this dynasty and what are the major events that unfolded during the reign of Satvahana dynasties. So who are the Satvahana people? The Satvahana rule is believed to exist between early 1st century BC and 3rd century AD. CE means Common Era, also known as Anno Domini, after death. They are referred to as Andhras in the Purana. So Puran, religious text, ancient Hindu religious texts. So in those religious texts, these Satvahana people, they are also known as Andhras. If you must have understood that today's modern state of Andhra Pradesh was once upon a time ruled by Satvahanas. Satvahanas were known as Andhras, and that's how Andhra Pradesh gets its name, Andhra, because Andhra Pradesh of today, Telangana of today, was once upon a time part of Satvahana dynasty only. This dynasty was built up on the ruins of Maurya. What Maurya? Mauryan dynasty, Mauryan empire. Why it is said so that this dynasty was built on the ruins of Maurya? Because these people, these Satvahana people, they actually overtook or captured those portions which were earlier under the control of Mauryan dynasties. Because the Mauryan dynasty or the Mauryan people, they had control over entire country, including South India, except the tip of South India. That means few states, Kerala and Tamil Nadu, they were not part of Mauryan Empire. So these Satvahana peoples, they formed or they settled by capturing the major chunk of Mauryan empire's land. You can say so. That's why this dynasty is said to be built upon the ruins of the Maurya. These people, Satavahanas, they were small vassals. Vassals means feudatories, small landlords. So they acted as small landlords during the time of Mauryans. That means when Mauryan dynasty was ruling from Pataliputra, these Satavahana people, they were acting as small landlords working under the Mauryans. They were working under Mauryans. And their family base was located in Deccan yani South India, Deccan Plateau. So their base or their family base was Pune. And when Mauryans were ruling from Magad, so they were acting as the landlords of Magad. The Satvahana kingdom chiefly comprised of modern day Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Maharashtra. So you can see the map of Satavahanas. So it chiefly comprised of Andhra Pradesh, this region, Telangana and Maharashtra. So this is Magad, this is Magad. So when Magad or the Mauryan kingdom grew weak, so all this region was under control of Mauryans. So when they grew weak, they were replaced by Satavahanas. So Satavahana did not capture the entire portion, but they were mainly concentrated in the southern India, southern part of India. So the dynasty had different capital cities at different times, including Pratishthan or Python. Please remember, what was the capital city of Andhras or Satavahanas? It was Python. Python is a city near Pune. So you can see somewhere here was their capital city, and the other capital was at Amravati. So Amravati is also a town in Maharashtra. So they had two capital cities. The prominent or the most important one was at Python. The second one was at Amravati, and both of these towns are located in Maharashtra. The other major thing is they supported Brahmanism. Please understand why these things are mentioned, because the earlier dynasty, the dynasty of the Mauryans, they were Buddhists, because King Ashok had converted to Buddhism. So these new people or these Satavahanas, they were not Buddhists, they were Brahmins, they were hardcore Brahmins, but it did not mean that they did not respect other religions. Though they themselves practiced Brahminism, but they were equally tolerant, for other religions as well. And they patronized Prakrit literature. Prakrit was the language spoken by people of Magad. So since they had connections with Magad, so that's why they patronized Prakrit. They also patronized Sanskrit because they themselves were Brahmins. Now they are famous in history for being the dynasty which issued lead coins. So no dynasty issued lead coins. So coins were generally made of metals, but they used lead. Lead means shisha, glass. Lead coins, glass coins. So this is something very peculiar about this dynasty. So please remember, this question has been asked many times, that which dynasty is famous for issuing lead coins? So it is Satavahanas. Satavahanas are also remembered for the fact that they added the name of their mothers with their names. So you can take an example. So this king is the most important king of Satavahana. His name is Gautami Putra. So these kings of Satavahana dynasty, they had a tendency or they had a practice of adding the name of their mother with their own name. So Gautami is the name of the mother. Gautami Putra means son of Gautami. So instead of writing their name, they used to write the name of their mother, that I am son of such and such. That means my mother's name is this. Satavahanas were involved in struggles with Shaka Western satraps, went on for a long time. Now please understand what is this Shaka Western satraps. So let me draw the map of India. So when Mauryan dynasty ended, so the vast area which was once controlled by Mauryan got divided into many portions. So one such portion was ruled by Satavahanas, whereas the northwestern part of India, it came under the control of Greeks. So Greek means people who had come from Greece. So people who had come from Greece and settled here. So they had now become the rulers. So they were known as Shaks. So Shaka Western satraps went on for a long time. So these two dynasties were fighting with each other for a long time. So which dynasty fought the Shaka Western satraps? It was Satavahanas. Both emerged, both were formed after the Mauryans were gone. The dynasty reached its zenith, that means reached its height of power under the rule of Gautami Putra Satkarni. That means Satkarni added the name of his mother. You can see the practice of adding name of mother, Gautami Putra. So Gautami Putra Satkarni was the greatest ruler of this dynasty, and his successor was Vasishti Putra Pulmavi. Again, adding name of mother, Vasishti Putra, son of Vasishti. So these two are the greatest rulers of this dynasty. Gautami Putra Satkarni is the father, and his son Vasishti Putra Pulmavi are two of the greatest rulers this dynasty have produced. The kingdom fragmented into smaller states by the early 3rd century AD. That means this dynasty, Satavahana dynasty, it got disintegrated by early 3rd century. So now let us see who are the rulers of this dynasty. The first ruler of this dynasty was Simuk. So Simuk is the founder of the dynasty. Simuk was the founder of the Satavahana dynasty. Simuk was a Brahmin. Simuk ruled for 23 years before he was killed by his own brother Kanha. See, we are writing here only those facts which you need to remember. Why to write, unnecessary things? So I have included only those facts which are crucial and which simply cannot be ignored, or those facts which have to be included to set the context. So Simuk ruled for 23 years before he was killed by his own brother Kanha, who became the next ruler. So the founder is Simuk, the next ruler is Kanha. Kanha was his own brother. So Kanha revolted against his brother Simuk. Simuk was killed by his own brother. Satkarni, the next important ruler, he is basically the third ruler. First is Simuk. Simuk is the founder. Then after Simuk, Kanha becomes the king. How did Kanha become the king? By killing Simuk. Kanha was Simuk's own brother. So the next ruler to take throne is Satkarni first. Why we are calling him first? Because there have been other rulers having same name Satkarni. So historians have to assign them ordering, Satkarni first, Satkarni second. So that way. So Satkarni the first was the son of Simuk. Simuk the founder. He dethroned his uncle Kanha because Kanha had killed his father and he had taken the throne. So now Satkarni is taking revenge. So he dethrones his uncle Kanha and becomes the third ruler of Satvahana dynasty. So he takes back throne, or he takes back the throne of the kingdom which was established by his father Simuk. We know in great detail about Satkarni from the Nanhe Ghat inscription. Please remember the name of this inscription. This inscription is related to which dynasty? Satvahana dynasty. So these are the kind of questions that have been asked. So whenever I will come across a fact, I will also highlight before you that how these questions have been framed in past, so that you have to have understanding that what is to be studied, what is to be ignored. So we know in great detail about Satkarni from Nanhe Ghat inscription, which was commissioned by his wife Nayanika. So Nanhe Ghat is a place in Maharashtra near to Pune. So you have an inscription. Inscription means inside a cave, the story about the king is written. So that is Nanhe Ghat inscription, and this inscription was commissioned by his wife Nayanika. So the wife is getting story of his husband written on the walls of a cave. So that cave today is known as Nanhe Ghat inscription. So Queen Nayanika was the wife of Satkarni I. So these are the type of questions. So Satkarni I conquered Kaling after the death of Kharvel. So Kharvel was the ruler of Kaling. Now understand about this Kaling. Kaling was very prosperous kingdom. Why? Because Kaling shared boundary with ocean. So Kaling controlled this sea route trade. So everybody wanted to get hold of Kaling. Even Chandragupta Maurya tried to take hold of Kaling, but he could not succeed. It was actually Ashok who defeated and merged Kaling into Magad. But after the end of Mauryan dynasty, Kaling had become independent again. So it was actually Satkarni I who again conquered Kaling. That means after Ashok, it was Satkarni who defeated Kaling again. And he had to fight with a king known as Kharvel. So when Kharvel was alive, he could not succeed. But after his death, he managed to defeat Kaling. He also pushed back the Sungs in Patliputra. Now who are these Sungs? Sungs were the successors of Mauryan kingdom ruling from Patliputra. See, these Satvahanas had come to South India, but somebody must be taking care of Patliputra. So Patliputra was under control of Sungs. So Sungs were also defeated by these people, Satvahana people. Satkarni I is known as Lord of Dakshin Path. Dakshin, South India. So he is known as Lord of South India. So it is this Nanhe Ghat inscription. So if you read this Nanhe Ghat inscription, in that Nanhe Ghat inscription, he is referred to as Lord of Dakshin Patha or South India. So who ordered the building of or the Nanhe Ghat inscription? Nayanika ordered the making of Nanhe Ghat inscription for his husband Satkarni I. So his queen was Nayanika who wrote the Nanhe Ghat inscription, you know that. He performed Aswamedh and Rajsui Yagya. Why? Because he was a Brahmin and he was a king. So question has been asked that which dynasty helped in spreading Brahminism in South India. So it is Satvahana dynasty, because they have come from Patliputra. So they chose to settle in South India. So now they are settled in South India and they are practicing Brahminic rituals. So these are basically Brahminic rituals. Aswamedh and Rajsui are yagyas which were conducted by the rulers. Instead of Buddhists, he patronized Brahmins because he himself was a Brahmin. The next ruler was Satkarni II. So Satkarni's successor was Satkarni II. That's why 2. Because already one Satkarni we have seen. So Satkarni II captured eastern Malwa from Shungs. So Malwa means region of Madhya Pradesh, Ujjain, Jabalpur. So these regions, Rewa. So all these portions which were actually under the control of Shungs. Who were Shungs? They were ruling from Patliputra. And these are Satavahanas. So these people, they started to defeat Shungs. Now, when Satavahanas managed to capture Malwa means Ujjain, Jabalpur, Rewa, all these regions. So they now have access to Buddhist site of Sachi, because Sachi is located in Malwa. So this happened during the lifetime of Satkarni II. So the greatest event or the greatest thing for which Satkarni II is famous is for building the decorated gateways of Sachi Stoop. So Sachi Stoop was built by King Ashok, but Satkarni II is famous for the fact that he donated 2 gateways to Stoop. So his name is mentioned in Sachi Stoop. So the question is, which Satvahana king's name is mentioned in Sachi Stoop? So the answer is Satkarni II. So he donated 2 gates, and on those gates his name is written. Sachi Stoop is the main source of information about him, and much is not known about him. So we know about him from Sachi Stoop only. The next ruler was Hala. So Hala was one more great king of Satvahana. He was the 17th king in order. So here we are discussing only the important rulers, because we need not remember the entire chronology. Only the important ones. So important ones make the history, remaining, they are obscure. So Hala was one more great king of Satvahana. He was actually the 17th king. He is famous for the fact that he compiled Gatha Saptasati or Gaha Sattasai, which is mainly a love story. Love story written in Prakrit language. Prakrit language. This is not written in Sanskrit, but written in Prakrit. So he was a king as well as a writer. You can say he was a great literary figure of ancient India. So the book that he has written is Gatha Saptasati, and this book is basically a love story. So his name is also mentioned in another text, Lilavati. So Lilavati is basically an ancient book on mathematics. So you can understand he was basically a literary figure, more interested in literature. So these rulers were small rulers only and are considered to be under the suzerainty of Kanvs. So these rulers, that means he is 17th king. So by then they have become weak, they have become small rulers, and they have accepted the suzerainty. Suzerainty means sovereignty. So they have accepted to become I won't call slaves, to become vassals, or you can say they were working under the Kanvs. Who were the Kanvs? They were the new dynasty who took over Magad. So one dynasty goes, the other dynasty comes. Before Kanv, Sungs were there. So they were already fighting with Sungs. Now Sungs were replaced by Kanv, and Kanv brought them under complete control. So Satvahana were working under the Kanvs for some time, because of which you can say that the expansion of Satvahanas were checked. Expansion was checked because we know that they started to act like vassals, somebody else's vassals. That means they were no more king themselves. So you can say the expansion of the Satvahanas was checked. It was stopped after Satkarni II. The other reason why they have become weak was that the Shakas pushed them southwards, and the western Deccan was occupied by Shaka king Nahapana. So Nahapana, so as I already told you, so this is South India, so Satavahanas are here. This West India, it was controlled by Shaka kingdom, Shaka. So these Shaka, they are foreign people, you can say of Iranian and Greek origin. So mixed race of Iranian and Greek. So they have occupied Western India and they were fighting with Satavahanas. So gradually they managed to defeat them and they were pushed more towards southwards. So this is what is happening. That means gradually Satavahanas were losing out to other powers. The next and the most powerful, most important ruler, most powerful ruler of this dynasty is this guy known as Gautami Putra Satkarni. Because you see, just before this we have seen that Shakas are able to defeat Satavahanas, Kanvs have managed to subdue them. So under these circumstances, Gautami Putra Satkarni comes to throne. The Satvahana power was revived by Gautami Putra Satkarni. So he is considered the greatest of the Satvahana rulers. How did he restore? So we know he restored the power, he revived. That means he checked the decline, he stopped the decline and he again set on the path of expansion. What did he do to do that? The king defeated by him appears to have been the western Kshatrap ruler Nahapana. So this guy Nahapana, who had captured portions of Satvahana dynasty, so this Nahapana was basically a Shaka ruler. Shaka. So these Shaka people, they were not Indians. They were people of Iranian and Greek mixed race who have captured India. They were foreigners. So Gautami Putra Satkarni defeated Nahapana. And how do we know that? Historians have found out coins issued by Nahapana. So Nahapana had issued some coins. So when Gautami Putra Satkarni defeated him, so what did he do? He removed his name from those coins and wrote his own name. So let's suppose on the coin Nahapana was written, so that people could read the coin and understand that this coin had been issued by Nahapana. But when Gautami Putra Satkarni defeated him, he said that I will use coins issued by him, I will simply change the name. So such coins have been found on which Nahapana's name have been overstuck. His name removed and Gautami Putra's name have been written over that. So that signifies that Gautami Putra Satkarni had defeated him. Unless you defeat somebody, then how can you write your name over his coins? So he must have defeated Nahapana. Later era Satvahana kings were weak and the western Kshatrap ruler Nahapana is known to have ruled from Satvahana territory and he was finally defeated by Gautami Putra Satkarni. Coins originally issued by Nahapana later struck by his name have been found. We have already discussed this. The lost power of Satvahana was thus revived by Gautami Putra Satkarni, who is also known as the destroyer of the Shaka, Nahapana. So this can be proved that he have destroyed or defeated the Shaka power, Pahlava and Yavana. So all these are foreign powers. Pahlav, Persians, Yavan, Greeks. So they have come from Greece, Persia. That means they were not from India. They have come to India to capture India after the Mauryan dynasty have declined. So they thought that let's take this opportunity, let's go to India, let's capture parts of India and let's start our own rule. So these are, the outcome was these dynasties, Shak dynasty, Pahlav dynasty, Yavan dynasty. So all these dynasties were ruling from northwestern India because they have come from that side only. So now this guy Gautami Putra Satkarni says enough is enough. I am going to defeat all these foreigners. So he is known as the destroyer of Shak, Pahlav and Yavan power. Gautami Putra Satkarni is known to have made a total and sharp recovery of Satavahanas. His achievements have been mentioned in Nashik inscription by his mother Gautami. This is easy to remember. His name is Gautami Putra. That means son of Gautami. That means he respected his mother so much. And mother also loved his son so much. So the mother, Gautami, mother's name is Gautami, son's name is Satkarni. Or rather, I think Satkarni was the title of the kings of Satvahana dynasty, because there have been so many rulers who are known by the name Satkarni. So anyways, Gautami built Nasik inscription. Nasik inscription. So Satvahana people, they are also famous for writing so many inscription. Sometimes wife writes the inscription for husband. Sometimes mother writes the inscription for his son. So Mother Gautami is getting an inscription made in Nashik, on which she is going to write the life history of Gautami Putra Satkarni. So that inscription is Nasik inscription. So the next ruler to come on throne is Vasishti Putra Sri Pulamavi. So Vasishti Putra Sri Pulamavi is son of Gautami Putra Satkarni. So Gautami Putra was succeeded by his son, whose name was Vasishti Putra. Vasishti is the mother. So son of Vasishti. So as I already told you that these Satvahana people, they had a tendency of using the name of their mother in their title. So Vasishti Putra Sri Pulamavi, also known as Pulumayi. So his coins issued by Vasishti Putra Sri Pulamavi features, so those coins, they depict ships with double mast. So this is the most crucial piece of information. So which Satvahana ruler issued coins featuring ships with double mast? Answer is Vasishti Putra Sri Pulamavi. So have been found on Coromandel coast, indicating involvement in maritime trade and naval power. So if your coins are showing ships, that means you are trying to convey that you have a healthy shipping industry, or you can say that tradition of shipping. So it indicates that these people, Satvahana people, they were engaged in maritime trade. Maritime trade means trade or ships traveling over ocean, rivers. So that is maritime trade and naval powers. So they had navy. The Girinar inscription of Rudra Daman mentions that Rudra Daman defeated Dakshinpati. Now who is this Rudra Daman? So Rudra Daman is Shaka ruler. So you just saw that Nahapana was a Shaka ruler whose coins were written over by Vasishti Putra's father. So Vasishti Putra's father's, whose name was Satkarni. So Satkarni had defeated Shaka. So the next Shaka ruler is Rudra Daman. So Rudra Daman comes in conflict with Vasishti Putra. So Vasishti Putra is son of Satkarni. So Satkarni had defeated Shakas. So enmity have started. So next Shaka ruler, Rudra Daman, naturally is the enemy of Vasishti Putra. So Rudra Daman manages to defeat Pulumavi. He defeated Pulumavi, and this information is written in Girinar inscription of Rudra Daman. So Rudra Daman got an inscription made for him. In that inscription, he mentions that I have defeated Dakshinpati Satkarni twice. Dakshinpati means ruler of South India. Ruler of South India. Dakshinpati Satkarni. So he was referring to Pulumavi. But he did not kill him. He is saying that though I defeated him, but I did not kill him because he is my close relative, close family relations. Now, how can Shaka be a relative of Satvahana? Shakas are foreigners, Satvahanas are Indians. So how they were related? They were related because Pulamavi was married to daughter of Rudradaman. So Rudradaman, who was a Shaka, his daughter was married to Vasishtiputra Pulamavi. That's why they were related to each other, and that's why Rudradaman defeated him twice but still did not kill him. The next important event of his life is the stoop of Amravati. Amravati stoop was renovated during his lifetime. Vasishtiputra Sri Pulamavi. Please remember, they were Brahmins. They were Brahmins, but still they patronized other religions. Now, how did this decline? How did this dynasty decline? So, Pulamavi IV is considered to be the last king of the main Satvahana line. That means slowly, gradually they declined, and Pulamavi IV was the last ruler. You need not remember all these names. You just, when it comes to Satvahana, you just remember the major rulers and important facts about them. So we have already discussed those facts. So apart from these videos, you don't have to refer to any other material. So whatever was necessary to be said, we have already stated. So he ruled until 225 AD. After his death, the empire fragmented into 5 smaller kingdoms. That means slowly, gradually, Satavahanas, they lost their power. They were divided. They got disintegrated into 5 smaller kingdoms. Now, what about their religious practices? So the Satavahanas belonged to Hindu religion and they belonged to Brahminical caste, but they were generous towards people of other caste and religion. And how can we say so? It is evident from the donations made by them towards the Buddhist monasteries. So as you already saw, Satkarni II donated gateway to Sachi Stoop. Sachi Stoop. Sachi Stoop is a Buddhist monastery. You can say it's a Buddhist religious place, but still these people were donating generously to other religions, to the cause of other religions. Many Buddhist monasteries were constructed during the rule of Satvahana dynasty. Amravati Stoop and Nagar Konda Stoop were built during this period. So you have to remember which dynasty. Name of the ruler is not clear, but it is known that this was built by Satvahana people. Anyways, Amravati and Nagar Konda, so these were 2 important cities of Satvahana. So Amravati was in fact the capital. So next time that you hear Amravati Stoop, it would be easy to recall that it were actually Satvahana people. Now this is very astonishing fact that the Pompai Lakshmi statue made of ivory. So there a statue has been found from Italy. Pompai is a city in Italy. It was from there a statue of goddess Lakshmi have been found. So that was built by Satvahanas. So this question have been asked. The Pompai Lakshmi statue belongs to which dynasty? So it belongs to Satvahanas. Satkarni I performed several Vedic sacrifices. We already saw Ashwamedh Yajna and Rajsui Yajna. So these were Brahminical rituals which every ruler was supposed to do. Gautami Putra Satkarni is called Ek Bamana. Ek Bamana means the soul or the greatest Brahman. So thereby signifying that he was a great, he obviously was a Brahmin, but he was the greatest ruler of Satvahana dynasty. That's why the greatest Brahmin, the sovereign Brahmin. So this is all facts that you need to remember about Satvahanas. So I again reiterate, the best way to read this chapter is to just remember the name of the major rulers and the facts related to them. That means what is to be studied about Satkarni one, what is to be studied about Gautami Putra, Vasishti Putra and on. So king and the facts associated with the king. So this is the pattern of questions that you can expect. So that is all about this chapter.